Oh,
Are you like okay? Like, what do
Okay,
you,
like
I
we're
don't know what Moodang is. It's apparently a baby hippo, a pygmy hippo.
are you on the internet? Like, what do you mean you don't know what Moodang? Like
I'm a
the
sheltered person.
sassy,
famous
she's a
hippo.
sassy baby hippo.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm looking this up now. This is gonna
She
fill my
well,
feed.
she is everything. She is like
Moodang.
at base.
Moodang.
It was the same picture.
OMG.
And she
And then I got
is
the
so
whole picture.
sassy. And there's like videos of her like being fussy with her handler, like she bites them.
Yeah. She bites their knees.
OMG. This is hilarious.
And SNL did a skit on her, and it was probably one of the best
Look at
pictures.
her, like, look at her.
Just like, rah.
I
I'm
know.
gonna numb you.
She fussy. She fussy
Okay,
girl.
I'm following it because that's adorable. So yeah, if anybody else is like me and doesn't know what Moodang is, look it up because you'll be happily.
Crazy. She's like on t-shirts and
What
she's
was it,
like,
October, November?
yeah, probably.
Yeah, it was like October, November when she became famous, but she's in Thailand and
Oh.
one in Virginia.
Yeah, see, I'm just not up to current events at all. I just live in my little bubble and I go to the gym and the grocery store and that's what I do.
That's all I do too, but it was, I think because it depends on your explore page because I follow a lot of like comedians and stuff like that. So I get like funny shit a lot.
Mhm.
And then I basically get humor, bodybuilding, of course, like athletic wear, like I get a lot of ads for athletic wear. And then I feel like, and then like bikini competitions, stuff like so bodybuilding. I'm like, let me look at my explore page. I'm kind of scared.
My explore page is full of competing recipes of sourdough and old fashions
Recipes. Oh, I get a lot of makeup
and
ones too, because I'm like a
old
makeup.
trucks. I've had this thing for old trucks lately. My dad brainwashed me. It's a problem. And then uh healers, like blue and red healer puppies.
Oh yeah, the
Oh yeah.
My
flutes.
whole pages.
I get a lot of creepy AI stuff too, because
Oh, yeah.
there's this guy I follow that he uses like several programs to make these like alternate universe, like AI kind of things. And it's really creepy and kind of sinister, but there's just something about which is like my vibe anyway. But I was like, I like it. So I follow his page and like one other guy that does this like crazy alternate universe creations. And so I think because of that, I'll get like a bunch of weird shit that I'm just like, but just because I follow him. But
That's what's bad about TikTok is like if you like click on something that's like, oh, what's that? Like it's interesting and it's like
I
totally
know you're like,
something that
shit.
you don't know. All of a sudden your whole screen is that. Like I went down this rabbit hole one time on TikTok of this dude. I don't know if he's trans or what, but like swear to God, looked like he was like female like drag lady, like and hold it off so well. And I like he did these things about like changing and like doing the transformations, and I was just like enthralled by this one night. And I just went scrolled through his page. All of a sudden, the rest of my feed is all about like LGBTQ, and I was like, "This is sending off the wrong vibes here."
You're like, I don't mind some
Like
of it,
that.
but I don't want my whole feed to be
Yeah,
about one.
I was like, I'm not trying to like send hints or anything. I just got really interested in like how this dude was doing this, like him, her, I don't know what, but don't want to like be disrespectful, obviously, but like I just was it was cool. I was like, this he's really good at this, and
Yeah. And then your Instagram's like, this is all you want. You're like, well, wait, some, sure, but like, like so I have this love for spiders, and I know people will think this is like really weird. Like, I love jumping spiders and tarantulas. If Dan would let me buy a tarantula, I know. So anyway, I love them. Not just like spiders don't bother me at all. Like, I don't want them to bite me or anything. I don't want them all over my house, but they don't bother me, but the jumping spiders, have you guys ever seen a jumper?
Uh, okay, so yes, at my parents' house in the basement, we will sometimes get sprickets. Please look it up.
These little
I
bees, you
can't
guys.
look at them. I can't look at them.
is it like a fucking
The cricket and a spider combined.
oh
Look at this little BB.
oh
Look at it. It has
Oh,
eyes on the
wait.
front of its head like a person, because most spiders, their eyes are on the top of their
um,
bodies.
Okay.
But they're literally the size of like half of my fingernail. They're teeny tiny and their front legs are really long and they'll like wave them up at you and like, and they're really smart. Like they're actually, people have them as pets.
Oh my
So
gosh.
anyway, I love jumping spiders and
But yeah, look at sprockets.
Dan's
They-
home.
Dan's home. And then I also love tarantulas, which much to Dan's dismay, but I'm not gonna make him. You don't want to own a tarantula?
No.
I'm with you, Dan. I was watching, well, me and the girls were watching this like National Geographic thing on like Australia the other day, and
Yeah.
it talked about tarantulas and how the biggest tarantula is in Australia, and it's no joke, this fucking big. And I was like, nope.
You know what's crazy is tarantulas. There's not one tarantula that's venomous to humans. Like,
Really?
True.
Nope.
That's-
I thought that they were.
no, you
Mhm.
can, if you get bit by a tarantula, I mean, it would kind of hurt because they're fangs, but, and their
Mhm.
fangs, like the tips of them are not even that, they're not venomous to humans at all. Like you might get like a little rash on your hand, but that's it. Like they're not a threat to you whatsoever. And I'm talking about furry tarantulas. There are some spiders that can be, but tarantulas specifically, their venom doesn't affect humans.
I know up here in like in this climate area, like there's a brown recluse spiders that will hide like in like wood piles and stuff. So like if
Yeah.
you've been letting it sit for a long time, you got to really be careful because if those suckers bite you, you're losing like a finger.
Yeah, like
like-
those black widows, like there's a few that if you don't get an anti-venom fast enough, like most, like you don't hear people dying from spiders, really.
No.
Like snake bites for sure, but tarantulas are not poisonous or sorry, venomous to humans. And they're just like, I get that they're super big and creepy looking, but they're actually like unless you're like threatening it, they're really docile and friendly. Like they're just like big, like they're just like furry little cows. Like they just chill and
Little cows. Oh, I love it.
like as far as their demeanor, like they're pretty docile unless they feel like you're coming after them, of course, and they get on the defensive. But that's why like you
Same.
can go to some places and hold them. Like they're not,
Really?
they want to just be like left. I just think they're so beautiful. Like some of them have like these crazy colors and I'm like enamored by them. Anyway, I like spiders.
It totally fits you. Did you miss the part where Carolyn was like, oh, same?
Oh, same.
They were
And
like, you said something about them being like docile and
Attacking if they're threatened.
yeah, and then Carolyn's like, yeah, same.
like, yeah, no, yeah. Same. I am docile until agitated, but I'm probably gonna get a jumping spider for sure because they're little BBs and they're so cute. And they only live like a year or two. Tarantulas can live to be in their 20s. That's a commitment. The little jumpies, they're cute and they like spring around and they like to have a little enclosure.
So they can like ting 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 off the
Oh,
side.
they're so cute. Like they're so funny to watch and they've got like such big personalities. Like people would be surprised, but like the jumping spider community, it's pretty hilarious.
That's awesome. Okay, when you get one, you need to put it on the podcast and he needs to be our mascot.
Oh, I will for
They're
sure. I'm gonna try to get a female. Sometimes you just don't know what gender they are because sometimes they don't have a gender for a while.
Just hold it.
I'm gonna name her Megan the Stallion.
Love it. Okay, speaking of like furry things like a cow, I am totally that basic bitch that wants like a furry little mini
They're
cow.
so cute. I can't stand
But
them.
they become large cows.
They do, but it's still gonna
Very
be a
cute.
mini. It's still gonna be a mini cow to me, and I'm just gonna love it. And
No, Highland cows.
I'm gonna walk it. You know,
You're gonna
like a
get
dog.
them.
And they have shoes. They can walk in the house too.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm not talking about bodybuilding, guys.
Yeah, we should probably talk about bodybuilding, you know, because this is
Talking
what
about my
podcast
weird
is all
love of
about. But
spiders. Everyone's gonna think I'm insane. They're gonna like, I'm gonna get messages like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, listen, spiders are misunderstood, okay?
this is what we told everyone that it was gonna be. Is it's just gonna be nonsense and shenanigans with a little bit of bodybuilding mixed in. So this is what it is.
This
Little
is
sprinkle.
what's on our mind. It's our explore page is little furry animals and spiders.
Yeah. So bodybuilding, anyways. I guess the
Amanda.
first thing that comes to mind is Missy Truscott moving to figure, which is like
Yes. Oh my gosh. I was wondering about that just after her injury and how hard on her body, not her, but just how hard on the body fitness is, like trying to be that lean, and for her to come back and defend her title after that. I think she like proved what she needed to, and
Yep.
then to give her a way to still stay in the sport, but not have to risk that in her knee getting injured again.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was cool in the podcast too, that she had mentioned at the Olympia that while she was warming up, she didn't even do a flip. Did you notice that? Yeah, and I think that, also gives a lot of sentiment to like she's aware. Like she understands, there's a high risk with fitness division, but at the same time, like, yes, physically she could do it, but at the same time, she knows how to have longevity in the career. And I think, just sticking to figure is going to be amazing. And I don't know, like after her announcement, I was like, man, is she going to be the next Sid?
Well, that's where I kind of went with it, is like, okay, well, she had the perfect opportunity because Sydney stepped down. Now she's retiring.
Mhm.
Missy's coming into figure. She has a very competitive physique already. And she's done figure before. So she has done a couple figure pro shows because she did one here in Fargo when we had it. We had a figure pro show here for like a couple years. It was the Candace Lewis Carter pro show. And so Candace Lewis was like the main person, whatever. And then she came and she got second, I think, to Wendy Fortino, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
But she got second at the show that year. So she almost went to the Olympia for figure already. So I mean, obviously she'll make it, I think. I think she'll still win a show, obviously, but it'll be interesting to see how she compares to like Jessica Reyes and like Lola Montez, who's the other, Natalia Soltero, all those top girls. So yeah.
I think a lot of people were kind of wanting to see her stack up in figure, like not just a couple shows, but like see, because her shape is so crazy.
Yes.
Obviously, like I'm sure she's starting to train and stuff more conducive to building that figure physique
Mhm.
now. So it'll be interesting to see because she does have a beautiful X frame.
Yeah. I think if anything, like, and this is me being like critique, like the smallest little of things, but if anything, because she has such like a wide upper body, bringing her legs out a little bit more, I think would make it more balanced. Because I think right now she's a little top heavy, just in my opinion. So
I'm sure she got some feedback from, Tyler and stuff. Like I'm
yeah,
sure they're letting her know, like, or she reached out and they're letting her know this is what we want to see for you to be competitive, with these women.
yep. And that
Right.
was like my entire feed for like 3 days. Like,
You're
yes,
like,
I know, okay. I
just
liked
Missy.
it already. I'm excited.
We're so ready
Even
for
though
it. I
like
probably had
technically
that
I'm
back.
competing against her now, so great.
Who were
That'd
the
be
other the other two names that were floating as to possible competitors to the figure division? There was two in particular, and they're off the top of my mind right now.
I don't
Uh,
know.
may it be off of like the last, Olympia, the second and third placing. But no, she's definitely going to take the lead for a while. I think, also to her, larger upper body structure, I could say, because she'll not have to do so many flips and athleticism, it's her legs will grow from
Mhm.
because you're not having to pound your body the entire time and running and sprinting and jumping, and
Yep.
instead focus on just your overall physique, then that would be great. The thing is though, she is big and has an incredible physique, but we have to remember figure is not about how big you are, because remember Sid is the smallest girl on the stage. So I'm curious to see, is the figure, even before Missy's announcement, it was like, okay, where's the figure division going to go? Because Sid was the smallest woman on stage. Everyone else is massive. And so are we just going to get bigger from here, or are the judges going to say, "Hey, we need to tone it down a little bit and have some, consistency here across the board?"
I think Sid too, her musculature fit her frame so beautifully. Like she was small in comparison, smaller and not small, she's not small, but like smaller in comparison to some of the more dense women. But for her structure and how the muscle pops off her body, it's almost like if she got bigger, it would start to look like she would start to look for her structure like too big. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's like how a lot of these divisions are, like in order for your physique to fit the criteria depending on your structure and how the muscle sits on your body, it's like may need to have more density in areas. And then, but the way she flowed in her shape, I think if like she had, because she got bigger over the years for sure. If you look back at
Oh
like
yeah.
her,
Oh yeah.
um, but I think it's like similar to any other division. I think the size, even open, you know what I mean? Like it really depends on how it all flows and inserts together. And does it look like you have a gap or not? Because then sometimes like what happens in any division is if you get a little bit too big for that criteria, it kind of throws off the flow of the whole physique.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Like, prime example, Natalia Soltero. Or not Natalia Soltero, Natalia Colho. She started in figure and she just got really big really fast. And they're like, yeah, you need to go to women's physique. And like, she just fits into that division very well. And even still, like her figure is very different than what Sarah Viegas is, you know? So like Natalia has a wider rib cage, like you can just see it, you know? So it's also just like your structure too. So it depends. I see lots of figure girls though with like very different structures, like, and it's, I mean, same across all divisions. Like everyone has just a different body structure. So it's just what's going to work best for you and like how well do you grow muscle? How well do you look peeled? What does that, all entail? So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, 100%. I know. I'm excited. I'm excited for this year, like for the Arnold. The Arnold is going to be, all the divisions seem so competitive to me, except for maybe, I feel like wellness is missing some of their heavy hitters, but I feel like bikini open, like super stacked.
Yep. I was looking at plane tickets today, by the way. So
Oh, nice.
have that. And they're way cheaper from Fargo, finally. So whew, thank goodness. Otherwise, like tickets from Fargo are always like $600 to $700 plus. And it's just like,
Oh, God.
yeah. So we'll be solid
Yeah,
for
good.
that. But I'm really excited because one, I can see you guys. So I don't think all three of us have been in the same place since like 2022 Olympia.
Yeah.
Bruh, really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like been you two together or me and Kayla together or
Yep.
like it's just not.
Yep.
Oh my
I'm,
God.
Mm-hmm.
that's
Been
fucked.
that long. When we were in Orlando, that was the
In-person
last time.
podcast?
Do what?
An in-person podcast.
I know. So yeah, we should. We should find a way to like set it up. I don't know how we do that, like in a hotel room or something.
Yeah,
We
I can bring
could.
my laptop and then we'll record from it.
Yeah.
Or
Bring my
iPhone.
laptop.
They work.
We'd have to figure out the sound would be too janky or not.
I have a little recorder thing that attaches like for training, attaches to your shirt. I have it that attaches to your phone. So like we could literally just put my phone up on a freaking stand or something, or if someone has a camera or whatever, and just videotape it that way. And we can all
Oh,
just sit
that's a
and
good idea.
chat and have coffee and do a podcast.
Coffee and chat.
Yeah.
And-
What other bodybuilding news is there that's been going on lately?
Well, you guys talked about the fit model division.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
talked about that last
No,
time.
we didn't get your insights on it. It was just me and Kayla talking about it.
Yeah.
So I do feel better about it. Now that dust has settled a little bit. It's not, it's still a pageant to me.
Yeah.
It's still a pageant. It's not bodybuilding. Yes, you can be a bodybuilder without competing, but fit model feels like a pageant versus bodybuilding. You can be a bodybuilder in the gym. Does that make sense? And instead, because you're not, and also the other thing too, it's very not ironic. What's the right word? Where we're going to be having it, not this year, but next year's Olympia. But it's supposed to be the intro division for people who are Instagram models who have never been on stage before, and yes, they are trying to reach this particular physique, but I would not put it into the Olympia stage. You can have but don't call them like Miss Olympia. You can be a fit model champion, but being Miss Olympia, that almost downgrades the others, because I see the others as bodybuilders. This is a pageant.
I get what you're saying.
No. So it's almost like participation trophies have started to become a thing, and I'm starting to see that here too. But I would love to see more people get acclimated. We all had our first show. We've all had the nerves of like, oh my God, am I going to love this? I've been working years behind this to get to this very point. And girls are going to have to work years behind it to get to that physique and put themselves on stage and have the guts to do it. That's very admirable. But you have to understand, like, if you're going to meet this certain criteria, yes, you're not crossing over, but becoming Olympia fit model, that starts to cross the blur between what does it mean to be a Mr. and Mrs. Olympia. So that's where I'm going to be interested to see how that goes on the pro stage. But again, it's going to be a year before we end up seeing. For the local shows, this is going to be fantastic. There's going to be a lot of new competitors. The other thing too is the length of shows as it is also very long, but I am seeing more shows do, even local shows. We'll do here in the DC area, we'll have a men's day and then a women's day. And that has helped a ton across the board. And they've been doing that since COVID. And we've been able to get through shows very quickly, end by 8 p.m. and go home. If it had to be done by 9 p.m., we're still cool. Midnight, 1 a.m., especially what the universe used to be. It used to end at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning some days because you had masters, and this was only when we had much fewer divisions. We didn't even have wellness back then. That's going to be a problem. You may end up having to do, like at the national stage level, you may end up having to have 2 days of women, 2 days of men's. That's pretty extensive on the coach's side. Athletes, you have a little bit more flexibility in when you arrive and when you leave. But for the coaches, that's going to be pretty hard. But it's a good thing because the sport constantly has to evolve. The other thing on involvement, sorry, I'm on a rant right now. The other thing on involving is that Ashley Kaltwasser, I would not use her as the standard. She still had to do 3 hours of cardio for that physique. She still had 6 block abs, and this was still in the beginning of bikini. And she's the reason I am in bikini. Like, she's the reason I started in 2013. Like, I'll give her that. But her physique was really hard to attain back then. And sports always evolve, but how are they going to control the evolvement of the fit model division? Because that one's going to get harder. That one's going to get leaner, denser, more muscular as we move on, like all divisions. We've seen the transformation of Chris in classic, and we've seen the transformation of open bodybuilders. And having that control, not just in fit model, but then also in the other divisions, how are we going to have consistency across the board for years to come and still stick to our morals and values and standards? That's on the judges and on the organization themselves. So they're going to have to hold themselves more accountable than they are right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just gonna have to be like it remains to be seen, you know, like until we see it evolve. Because when bikini came out, everyone felt just like that, you know, and then it's here now. I think it's gonna take a minute for Fit Model to find what it's supposed to be. I think it's gonna take having someone become the standard. In my opinion, I feel like early Janet would have been a really good physique because she's on the less muscular side. She didn't have tie-ins back in the day. So I feel like, you know, Janet's look, maybe I think it was like her first Olympia or something like that, because I agree, like the picture that they used of Ashley, and a lot of people even mentioned like, well, she does have tie-ins and she does have etched in abs. So it's a little bit like, they're not etched in, like, but they're separated for sure.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were confused by that picture. I'm like, this looks way better than most bikini girls. Like, I don't know, like this, yeah, I was like, oh, that's the right example. So I think they could have used a better example. I mean, I can think of a lot of early bikini pros that would have been a way better standard to set. I do think that one thing, like, I think it's really good, Karen, that you're bringing these things up because there's got to be pushback in order to keep it where it's supposed to be. If everyone's just like, yeah, let's go all guns a-blazing, and there's no checks and balances, like there's got to be checks and balances on this. And I think that's really, really good to keep the criteria where it's supposed to be, because with, like we saw with bikini, it did not stay anywhere near what it's how it started, which I love where bikini is now. Like I said on the last podcast, like I love bikini. Um, and where it is, but I think with this fit model, especially, they're going to have to really toe the line and keeping that boundary with conditioning and muscularity. But one thing I do appreciate now is like, I don't know, like it's like if I'm describing what I do as far as like competitive bodybuilding, and I'm like, yeah, it's like the entry level division. And I think back, like, it just to me, I'm just like it bikini, what, you know what, Carolyn, you know what I mean? It's like it is, but it's also not like it's not something I would consider entry, and that you could spend a few really hard years training naturally and like go do pretty well at a regional show. Like hell no. Like if you're not on PEDs, you're not doing very well unless you're just like one of the very, very few genetic freaks that exist. Um, so it just to me was like that was my biggest thing. I think my biggest sticking point with bikini was like the entry level division pretty much requires PEDs to a pretty large degree. And I just don't think that should be the case. Now, if they had kept bikini where it was, then they wouldn't even have had to make the fit model, but we're here. And I love where bikini is. I love what it's turned into. I still sometimes get confused when you hear feedback from like these insanely looking pros. And then you hear the judge say, we want like more upper outer glute. I'm like, her glutes are ginormous. Like I've seen them just standing and it's just like a shelf. And I'm like, more upper glute? Like,
how do you get much more than that? Like, you
I'm
want
like,
to like
see
stick out
that.
like this?
Well, I was watching right before this, I was watching the prejudging for the Olympia this last year. And the way Laura Lee walks to the back, I was like, how do I get that? Like, like what? And then the other thing too is that I love your point about, I'm glad you guys saw it too, where the example wasn't really like the best. The thing is too, is I'm kind of confused because if you want to encourage more athletes to join the organization, support the organization, why don't you just throw more money into natural shows? The Ben Wielder does great. There's so many people. There's actually 3 local shows that same weekend of the Ben Wielder. And the other thing too is that the Pittsburgh now Expo is now having a natural, I can't remember. I think they might be giving an IFBB pro card at that one,
Yep.
for a natural division.
I have a
Yeah.
client that wants to do that show actually.
Yeah, no, it's the best show and it well deserves to be an expo by now.
Mhm.
I remember when it was in the Soldiers Sailors Arena and it was packed and you couldn't control like how many people are checking in because there's so many and you have all the pros coming to town. It's a great time. I highly recommend everyone do the Pittsburgh Pro. But amateur pro, sorry, confusing. But now it's an expo. And the thing is that, if you want to grow the sport, we just had wellness. We just got over that. We already now know how to judge it after 2 years, 3 years? No,
We're
2020.
on year 5
Tampa,
now.
yeah, Tampa 2020, which is wild to think about. And when that first started, it was very confusing. No one knew what to do. They knew that Brazil and South America had been doing it for a long time, but now we have a grasp as to what the criteria is. And now we're introducing another female division. There's already so many athletes and a lot of concerns about understanding the criteria as it is. Why don't we put more money into the natural organizations? If you really want to take over the OCB and the other Australian division, which is absolutely beautiful, it's more of a pageant. But if you want to take over more NAB and
NANBF.
NAMBF, yes.
Yep. I competed in that when I first started.
That's right, you did. And the OCB, those are huge shows. So if you really want to dominate in the fitness competition space, you know, start bringing in more natural shows because we don't hear that enough. Where we have athletes of our own clients that say, well, I don't want to compete because they're too big or I don't want to take peds. And it's like, well, sign up for a natural organization, but there's only a few you can choose from throughout the year. That's why many people don't do OCB is because there's like 4 spread all throughout the year. And
Yes.
it's so hard to diet for that because as a natural person, you're already having to diet double the amount of time, if not longer. And then also having to hold that body composition is really hard as a natural athlete. So I don't know. I say bring more natural shows versus trying to create another division. And also, where is the men's fitness division?
Yes, thank you.
I've been
I've been
arguing,
talking about this forever. I'm like, why don't they make a men's fitness? Like ex gymnasts, ex cheerleaders,
they won't.
dancers, you know.
Yeah, men have been asking for this for years. Get rid of men's bikini and please put in men's fitness. Sorry, Ryan. We love you, but like go away. Like I want men's fitness.
I don't think they'll
Nope.
ever get rid of a men's division, but they could bring in some more men's options, I feel like.
Oh,
Well, I don't
absolutely.
know if you guys saw, but Tyler Mannion did a podcast with Hani, and
Yes.
they are doing a lot more natural shows. Like
Yeah.
that's a huge God, what's the word I'm looking for? Like that's a huge thing for them this year. And they invested a lot more last year and they're gonna like double it this year. Like he
Yeah.
said, like they're doing way more natural shows. They're really investing a ton of money into their natural kind of, why can't I talk today? Like into the natural side of the IFBB and
They're
NPC.
excited.
So just so you know, like he did say that they are investing a lot in that and they're really excited to continue to do that,
Mhm.
which is great.
I think
Yeah.
it's great because to kind of, I wanted to expand on that point of like OCB, NANBF. The standards, because I've competed in the NANBF and I've also had clients compete OCB as well. The standards are so different. Like, and that's why, like, and why it's kind of frustrating sometimes because you want like the NPC IFBB is like the cream of the crop, right? Like everyone wants to do this. I mean, most people want to do that, but because it's the biggest, you get the most notoriety, the biggest shows, like all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, they want to stay natural. So if they compete with people on PEDs, then they're like, well, I'm natural. So like they beat me because I'm natural. And it's like, well, you can go compete in natural division, like, and I hate it when people complain about that stuff because like you know what you're getting into. But at the
Yeah.
same time, now that the NPC is doing more natural shows, it opens up that division and that option for more people to do that and to have the availability for more shows, to have the availability for bigger shows kind of thing. Because I'm all for like OCB, NANBF, like they're great federations, but it's kind of almost like a participation award.
Yeah.
Like I've had clients do them and they're like, this one girl, one of my clients did bikini and they're like, yeah, she's like, I totally wasn't expecting this, but they told us to like do our most muscular flex on stage. And everyone was like laughing about it and having a good time. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. And she's like, yeah, it was kind of weird. She's like, I just like didn't really know what to do. I was like, yeah. I was like, in your, as a bikini girl. And like, I get it, it's supposed to be fun and everything like that, but like I feel like it's just kind of the division between like very serious bodybuilding and like hobby bodybuilding,
Yeah.
and I know that there are a lot of natural people that do take it very seriously. So now, like coming hopefully to NPC, they can do it like that. And like, I don't want to offend anybody by that. Like anyone who is natural and does OCB shows, like it's not like a dig against them. It's just my opinion on it. But it's just kind of the outside looking in. That's what it looks like. And like when I did NANBF, like it took me 2 shows and I won my pro card. And then I was like, well, that's it. And I was already like, oh, like I want to have something harder to do. I want to compete. And I competed natural against in NPC for years before I did that. And I won overalls. And so like it's not impossible. But it is, you know, if you're gonna go NPC and want to be IFBB pro, like it is PEDs are just a thing now. But
Yeah.
but yeah, to kind of expand upon that, that's kind of just my thoughts with it as far as like the differences and whatnot.
When they used to have the Yorton Cup here in DC,
Mhm.
for the OCB, that was the biggest draw for competitors to want to do the OCB was
Still
because
is.
of the community behind it, saying that it was very supportive and welcoming and open, particularly that part where you're flexing and the audience is cheering you on because you're the only one up there, kind of cheering you on and doing these different, just having fun. And that does appeal to certain people.
Mhm.
But I think those certain
Absolutely.
people, they most often come from an NPC show experience and they had or either a bad coaching experience and then they're like they immediately think that, oh, because of that coaching experience, that's what the NPC is like. And then
Yep.
they go to the OCB and they go natural. And then they
Yep.
say, the OCB is so much better because I had a much better experience. And they almost want to block any sort
Mhm.
of memory of NPC.
Mhm.
Then they look at NPC and IFBB athletes as mean or, just crude.
Conceited and stuff like that. Yeah.
And it's like, well, maybe it was a particular experience that you had, and we're not going to judge you for that. Like the nicest people we have met, I met both of you guys, is because of the NPC and because of the IFBB, but there are going to be those people that are going to have bad experiences and they can't get over it, and that's okay.
Yep.
And if they find more happiness and joy in their training and their competing career through the OCB or NABF,
Mhm.
go for it. Go for
Yeah.
it. Like you have to have that sacrifice of you're not going to be able to compete in other organizations like OCB. No, you can't go to NABF. Or, if you want to do the like I don't know, if you want to do NPC, and then I'm sure there's going to be other, organizations that come up in the future. My mind immediately goes to CrossFit right now because a lot of people are leaving CrossFit to go to hydraulics instead. So hydraulics is interesting. I want to give you the actual um proper um definition so I don't screw it up. Versus CrossFit. Okay. High rocks. So uh High rocks is a specific test of certain aspects of fitness. High rocks is not a training methodology. High rocks is a sport that combines both running and functional fitness workout stations where participants run 1 kilometer followed by one functional workout station repeated 8 times. And it's a clearly defined event. The decathlon is also a clearly defined event versus like CrossFit has endurance, strength, power. Um, and the three aspects of fitness are cardiovascular, respiratory, endurance, stamina, and strength. So I think there's just primarily like High Rocks is more primarily focused on running and more functional fitness like sled pushes, sled pulls, rowing, sandbag lunges versus CrossFit. It's more of the power Olympic lifts. And so High Rocks brings in more HIIT style training. So it's very interesting because there's this whole other, new movement going away from CrossFit. I think it's primarily because of the people who run CrossFit and all the interesting stuff that's going on, like with the organization itself. So people are seeking other avenues. They don't support the company. So yeah.
I don't know anything about CrossFit except for it's expensive as fuck.
Also injuries.
I know nothing about CrossFit
Like
politics.
everyone who looks at our sport.
I don't know shit about that, but all right.
I don't know shit about fuck, but here we are.
Here we are. You know how, okay, I have to say to like the people that say like, oh, I went to an NPC show and the girls were mean and whatever. I have heard that before. And I've also, you know what, people will find what they're looking for. I swear to
Yes.
God. Like, you guys need to understand if you go into a situation with the view, you're going to find exactly what you're looking for. I have never had a bad experience with another competitor at an NPC show. I've never had a bad experience, period. Like
Yeah.
I've either been just kind of like back doing my own thing and not had like a lot of interaction. I have such good friends I've met at shows, like of course, like you guys, there's girls, in my Colorado community that I met backstage and they're angels. Like they're such sweethearts and everybody's just like so supportive. I was like, I think people, they just want to find something negative to like prove a point. Like, oh,
Yeah.
NPC or OCB is just better. You guys are like, no one's mean. Everyone's really cool. You're trying to facilitate a bias here because I've heard that somewhere else. Like I've heard someone say something like, oh yeah, it's like all politics. I'm like, you guys, shut the fuck up. Like
My favorite.
like you literally want confirmation bias. And I'm like, I've never had that experience ever. And I guarantee you, if they went into it just like either neutral or just like, yeah, this could be good. Like they're just looking for anything to point out wrong. Kitty. That cat is not wanting to be up there.
He's like, let me down.
He's like,
no. But no, I agree with Amanda. It's like, it's, whatever floats your boat, like whatever kind of experience and stuff you want to have at a show is what you're going to have. And if you want more of the like, oorah, like we're all just a big community and like cheering each other on, like go for a different division or a different federation. But like if I feel like the NPC IFBB is a little bit more like really serious about it and kind of thing, not that natural competitors aren't. Like I know plenty of natural competitors that are. There's just a different vibe, I guess I should say. That's probably a better way to put it. Is there's just different vibes there, and it's just whatever floats your boat. But like you said, it's whatever you're looking to get out of it.
well, the NPC and the IFBB is the most competitive federation in bodybuilding. It is the federation of bodybuilding. So even our natural shows, our natural NPC IFBB shows would blow other natural federations out the fucking water.
Yeah.
And that's because the quality of competitors, it's like football players in the NFL and then like some other football federation. Like no one even knows what they're called. You know what I mean? It's like
the IFL.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
League.
that. The standard and the quality and the NPC and IFBB, natural or not, is by far the best. So that's where people are going to go. Is there anything people should compete in whatever federation they want to? Of course, they're all like respected, whatnot. If you want to compete with the best, you go to the NPC and the IFBB. That's it. Like there's no other argument. That's where the best go. Natural or not, because they have natural pro shows, they have natural pro qualifiers. Those physiques are incredible. And that's why those shows have blown up so much, because the quality is that's what the NPC is known for. It's the quality and the standard is so incredibly high. And the people that compete in that federation, they know you can't just get a pro card half-assing it. Whereas like you can get a pro card at a natural show and be like pretty out of shape and not that muscular. Like I've seen it all the time. And I see natural girls and men getting pro cards at natural pro qualifiers that are absolutely incredible. So it's just the standard our federation holds is just the best. And that's the way it should be, I think. And that's why I love it so much. But
I agree.
People get their panties in a twist over anything.
They'll always find something to complain about. But I have to get going here in a few minutes, just so that we know, so we can wrap it up. I have a posing session, but
really good.
But yeah, no, it's.
Oh, I started prep. We can talk about it next time.
Yes, that's right. I was going to bring that up. I'm glad you said it.
We'll talk about it next time because Kayla, I know you have to go, but I started prep.
Teaser for next time.
Do what?
Teaser for next time.
Teaser, yeah, it's not, yeah, guys, I've got like months to go, we're good. But yeah, I'll just kind of talk about what Cameron and I's philosophy is, not philosophy, but our plan, what we're looking to do, and then, yeah, we'll just kind of go through it. I'm very, very excited.
Yay. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I already have it on my calendar for your show.
Oh, I love you guys so much.
Unless
you're the only people besides Dan I'm allowing to come to the show. And I say, I don't mean to be like, I hate saying that, like not allowed, but I get
it though.
It's so stressful, man. Like I love the support. Everybody's amazing. It's just, I feel bad because I can't like give them time. And then I just feel like I need to do all these things. I'm like, I just want to focus on the show. I just want to focus on the show. So I told my dad and stuff. I was like, would you mind live streaming it? Like, I love you guys. I just don't want you to spend the money. Like, I just can't go eat with you. I can't really hang out with you. Like,
yeah.
And I get a little bit of a fucked up headspace sometimes on show week, not in a bad way. I'm just like not my normal self. And I just, anyway, you guys get it, but we'll chat about it.
Can't wait. I'm excited. Okay. Thanks guys. We'll talk to you all later.
Love you guys. Bye,
Love you.
Kayla. Love you. I'm going to text you.
Okay.
Love you guys.